Myanmar and Thailand, two countries that, on the surface, share a border, similar physical landscapes, and even some threads of history. Yet, in the modern world, their paths could not be more different. Thailand has rapidly evolved, becoming a bustling economic powerhouse and a tourism hub that draws millions each year, while Myanmar, just next door, has been trapped in the throes of a brutal civil war, spiraling ever deeper into instability. How is it that one country flourishes, even as its neighbor falters? Why does Thailand stand as a beacon of safety and excitement for travelers, while Myanmar remains one of the most dangerous places on Earth? To answer this, we need to understand not just their shared geography, but how history has shaped each nation's fate. Thailand's story is one of remarkable transformation. Despite the turbulence in the surrounding region, it has grown into a global economic player. It now ranks as the 23rd wealthiest country in the world, surpassing nations like Switzerland and the Netherlands. In a region where many neighbors are still struggling with political instability, Thailand has successfully capitalized on its geographical advantages, modernized its industries, and created a thriving tourism sector. Its bustling capital, Bangkok, is a magnet for travelers from all over the world, and its scenic beaches, cultural sites, and modern amenities make it a favorite destination for those seeking both adventure and luxury. Myanmar, however, tells a darker story. While it shares many of the same natural resources, landscapes, and cultural ties with Thailand, Myanmar's trajectory has been anything but smooth. The country, once called Burma, has been engulfed by a violent internal conflict that seems to have no end in sight. What went wrong? To understand this, we must first look at the geography that ties these two nations together. The geography of both Thailand and Myanmar is stunningly diverse, but it is the way these landscapes have been managed or mismanaged that has influenced their very different futures. These two countries share a blend of rugged mountains, fertile plains, and winding rivers, all of which have played critical roles in shaping their cultures and economies. The similarities are striking, but the contrasts in how they have developed are more pronounced. Myanmar, the larger of the two, stretches across an expansive area of Southeast Asia. Its northern regions are dominated by the rugged, forested mountains of the eastern Himalayan foothills. These mountains gradually give way to the rolling hills and valleys of the Shan Plateau, home to many of Myanmar's ethnic minorities. The country's geographic diversity is reflected in the sharp contrast between its lush, green highlands and its dry, arid zones. The Central Dry Zone, for example, is a semi-arid region that stands in stark opposition to the fertile floodplains of the Irrawaddy River basin. This river, the country's lifeblood, flows north to south, providing water for agriculture and trade. Historically, the fertile lands surrounding the Irrawaddy have been the heart of Myanmar's civilizations. These same areas, however, have also become battlefields in the country's ongoing civil war. To the west, Myanmar is separated from India by the Arakan-Yoma mountain range, and to the east, the Tenasserim mountain range runs parallel to its border with Thailand, serving as a natural divider. Despite these barriers, Myanmar shares many environmental features with its neighbor, yet their paths have diverged greatly. The Irrawaddy's delta, which empties into the Andaman Sea, is one of the most densely populated regions of Myanmar. It has historically supported the country's agricultural activities, but it also remains one of the most unstable regions due to ongoing conflicts. Thailand, though smaller in size, is no less rich in its geographical diversity. Like Myanmar, its terrain is made up of mountains, rivers, plains, and coastlines, but the way in which these areas have been utilized for economic growth and development sets Thailand apart. The northern part of Thailand is dominated by the Thai Highlands, part of the same mountain range that stretches into Myanmar. Here, the mountainous terrain gives rise to some of Thailand's most important rivers, such as the Ping, Wang, and Nan rivers, which converge to form the Chao Phraya River. This river system is the heart of Thailand's agricultural economy and its most important trade route. The central plains of Thailand, often called the Rice Bowl of Asia, are some of the most fertile lands in the world. The Chao Phraya River and its network of tributaries have turned this region into one of the most productive agricultural areas in Southeast Asia. Not only has this contributed to the country's food security, but it has also positioned Thailand as a major exporter of rice, a crucial staple crop. To the north and northeast, Thailand's landscape transitions into more arid regions. The northeastern plateau, known as the Isan region, is characterized by its dry climate and less fertile soils, which has shaped the culture and economy here. Farmers in this region rely more on subsistence agriculture and face greater challenges in maintaining a stable food supply. Yet, despite these challenges, this area is home to a distinct cultural identity, heavily influenced by both Thai and Laotian traditions. Finally, there's Thailand's southern peninsula, which stretches toward Malaysia. This region is tropical, lush, and surrounded by stunning beaches and coastal plains that have made Thailand a prime tourist destination. Agriculture, especially rubber and palm oil cultivation, is also a significant part of the southern economy. Both countries share a connection to the Andaman Sea, an economic lifeline that has influenced their trade, fishing industries, and tourism sectors. However, Thailand holds an advantage in this respect, with easier access to the Gulf of Thailand, which Myanmar lacks. Though Myanmar is only a short distance from the Gulf's coast, its lack of direct access has limited its potential to capitalize on this important waterway. While geography offers some similarities, the histories of Myanmar and Thailand have led them down very different paths. Myanmar's history is marked by a series of dynastic cycles, wars, invasions, and, in the modern era, political upheaval. Thailand, on the other hand, has largely avoided such turbulence, maintaining a degree of political stability and economic growth that Myanmar has been unable to achieve. Myanmar's early kingdoms, such as the Pagan dynasty, flourished for centuries before being invaded by the Mongols in the 13th century. From then on, Myanmar's history has been a mixture of prosperity and conflict, leading to a fractured modern state, racked by internal strife. Thailand, by contrast, has faced its own challenges, but its political institutions, such as the monarchy, have largely remained intact, allowing the nation to modernize in ways Myanmar could not. As we continue, we'll explore how these geographical and historical differences have shaped the modern realities of both countries. After the fall of the Pagan dynasty, the region spiraled into a period of fragmentation, marked by the rise of smaller kingdoms that filled the power vacuum left behind. The Ava and Hanari kingdoms, among others, emerged as dominant forces in this new landscape. Meanwhile, in what we now know as Thailand, the Sukhothai kingdom was established around 1240 AD, largely due to the slow decline of Bagan's once mighty empire. Sukhothai is considered the first Thai kingdom, laying the foundations for what would eventually become the modern Thai state. Just like Bagan in Myanmar, Sukhothai became a center for Theravada Buddhism. Its rulers not only embraced the faith but also contributed significantly to Thai culture, including the creation of the Thai script, which has become one of the most enduring legacies of this early kingdom. This period marked the beginning of a distinct Thai identity, a culture that would evolve and shape the kingdom for centuries to come. However, as time passed, the Sukhothai kingdom eventually gave way to the rise of the Ayutthaya kingdom in 1351. The Ayutthaya kingdom, with its strategic position and powerful military, quickly expanded its influence, eventually covering most of present-day Thailand and much more. It became a cosmopolitan hub, known not just for its military prowess but also for its diplomatic reach. It forged relationships with far-flung empires, including China, Persia, and even European powers. This era marked the start of what would later be known as the Siamese Golden Age. During this time, the kingdom flourished. Arts, education, and literature blossomed as peace reigned over the land. However, like all great kingdoms, Ayutthaya faced its own challenges. Myanmar and Thailand had long been at odds, with their kingdoms frequently clashing over territorial disputes. The rivalry between the Ayutthaya kingdom and various Burmese dynasties, especially the Taungoo dynasty, ignited numerous conflicts from the 16th to the 18th centuries. The most devastating of these wars came in the form of the Burmese-Siamese War of 1765 to 1767. It was a brutal campaign, one that culminated in the sacking of Ayutthaya by Burmese forces. The city, once a beacon of prosperity and culture, was left in ruins. But in true Thai resilience, the fall of Ayutthaya did not mark the end. Under the leadership of King Taksin the Great, the Thai people regrouped and established a new capital at Thonburi. Later, King Rama I came to power, founding the Chakri dynasty, which still rules Thailand today. The establishment of the Chakri dynasty marked a pivotal turning point, giving Thailand a new sense of unity and strength. Under Rama I and his successors, the kingdom began to rebuild, creating the foundations of modern-day Thailand. While Thailand was finding its footing under the Chakri dynasty, Myanmar was facing its own monumental changes. In 1752, the Konbaung dynasty emerged, expanding Myanmar's territory but also sparking tensions with neighboring powers. The British Empire, ever expanding during this time, soon set its sights on Myanmar. Following a series of 3 Anglo-Burmese wars, Myanmar succumbed to British colonial rule on January 1, 1886. For nearly a century, Myanmar became a British colony, which would leave deep scars on its political and social fabric. The British dismantled traditional power structures, replacing them with a new colonial administration. This abrupt change sowed the seeds of ethnic tensions, setting the stage for the internal struggles that continue to this day. The British also imposed economic policies that left Myanmar underdeveloped, with widespread poverty and inequality. In stark contrast, Thailand managed to avoid colonization. The country's strategic diplomacy and clever maneuvering through the increasingly complex geopolitics of the time helped it maintain sovereignty. King Rama IV and his successor, King Rama V, modernized the country's institutions and successfully negotiated treaties with Western powers, securing Thailand's independence. While other Southeast Asian nations, like Myanmar and Vietnam, fell under the yoke of European colonization, Thailand stood firm, a rare example of a nation that retained its freedom during an age of imperialism. This period of Western imperialism had a profound impact on Myanmar, shaping the country's future trajectory. The damage wrought by colonial rule would become increasingly apparent after Myanmar gained independence from Britain in 1948. Despite hopes for a bright future, Myanmar quickly descended into political turmoil. The country's ethnic diversity, a reflection of its complex history, became a point of contention. Numerous ethnic groups demanded greater autonomy, even full independence in some cases. The British, in their typical divide-and-rule fashion, had exacerbated these tensions, leaving a fractured state struggling to unite. In 1962, Myanmar's political instability took a dramatic turn. General Ne Win led a military coup, establishing a harsh military dictatorship that would last for decades. Under the banner of socialism, Ne Win's regime cut Myanmar off from the rest of the world. The country was isolated both politically and economically, leading to widespread poverty and underdevelopment. Dissent was brutally suppressed, as seen during the 1988 pro-democracy uprisings, where the military regime mercilessly crushed protesters seeking reform. Despite this oppressive rule, Myanmar seemed to be moving toward a brighter future in 2011 when Aung San Suu Kyi, the pro-democracy leader, was released from house arrest. A new era seemed possible as the country held elections for a civilian government. Yet, the military never fully relinquished its control. Even during this time of political thawing, the shadow of the military loomed large over Myanmar's future. This fragile progress was soon overshadowed by further tensions, setting the stage for the current crisis. Meanwhile, Thailand's political landscape, while far from perfect, was moving in a different direction. The country was gradually transitioning toward a constitutional monarchy during the 1900s, though it faced its own share of political instability, including military coups and power struggles. Despite these challenges, Thailand managed to maintain a sense of continuity and stability. It moved steadily towards becoming a modern state, with a more open political system and a growing economy that would eventually make it one of Southeast Asia's most important powers. Then, in February 2021, Myanmar once again teetered into chaos. The military, alleging widespread election fraud, staged a coup and seized control of the government, just as the country seemed on the cusp of a more democratic future. This move shattered the fragile balance that had been built over the previous decade. What followed was a wave of violent protests as people poured into the streets, demanding an end to military rule. The military responded with overwhelming force, leading to brutal crackdowns, arrests, and a growing number of casualties. The country descended into a full-scale civil war. On one side, the military junta, now more entrenched than ever, controlled the country's largest cities, Yangon and Mandalay, and the majority of its military infrastructure. On the other side, the National Unity Government, made up of former politicians ousted by the coup, fought back with growing strength. The violence has ravaged Myanmar, with over 50,000 people killed, and the U.S. State Department has issued a Level 4 do not travel warning for the country. Myanmar, a nation once filled with promise, now lies in ruins, caught in the grips of endless conflict. Contrast this with Thailand. Despite its own share of political instability, Thailand's path has been remarkably different. Thailand never fell to colonial rule, which allowed the country to preserve its political continuity. This unique advantage helped Thailand maintain stability throughout the centuries. The monarchy became a unifying symbol for the people, offering a sense of continuity through times of upheaval. Unlike Myanmar, Thailand did not face the same colonial disruption. While the country did experience several military coups in the 20th century, it never fell into the same cycle of authoritarian rule and internal fragmentation. The Chakri dynasty and its successors played a key role in navigating the country through periods of military rule and transition, ensuring the monarchy remained at the heart of Thai political life. Though Thailand has faced political turmoil, including coups in 2006 and 2014, it has consistently returned to civilian rule, albeit under conditions that sometimes favor military influence. This political stability has allowed Thailand to develop economically and become one of the leading economies in Southeast Asia. Thailand has benefited from its strong tourism industry, strategic location, and integration into the global economy. Unlike Myanmar, which has remained isolated, Thailand's relatively stable political environment has attracted foreign investment, helping the country diversify its economy and grow steadily. Myanmar, on the other hand, has been burdened by its military's prioritization of power over development. By focusing on maintaining control and stifling opposition, the military has isolated Myanmar from the rest of the world. This isolation has prevented the country from modernizing at the same rate as its neighbors. Myanmar remains one of the poorest countries in the region, suffering from widespread poverty, ethnic conflict, and ongoing civil war. The international community, especially Western nations, has imposed sanctions on Myanmar in response to the military's brutal crackdown, but Myanmar continues to receive support from countries like Russia and China, who have provided arms and political backing. Thailand's approach to international relations has been more open. The country has been an active member of regional organizations like ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, which has bolstered its regional standing. Thailand's efforts to modernize its economy and integrate into the global market have helped it maintain its position as a leader in Southeast Asia. Myanmar, in contrast, has been increasingly isolated, both politically and economically, due to its military junta's actions and the global backlash they have provoked. Though Myanmar and Thailand share a border, their present realities could not be more different. While Thailand continues to thrive, attracting tourists and foreign investments, Myanmar is mired in conflict. Over the course of their modern histories, the two countries' paths have diverged sharply, and the roots of this divergence are found in their responses to colonialism and internal struggles. Thailand's ability to navigate the colonial era and its subsequent political challenges allowed it to maintain sovereignty and avoid the conflicts that have consumed Myanmar. Today, the two countries stand as stark contrasts. Thailand is a vibrant, stable, and growing economy with strong international ties, while Myanmar is a nation in turmoil, embroiled in a civil war that shows no signs of ending soon. The ongoing conflict in Myanmar has not only devastated the lives of its people, but has also reshaped the political landscape of Southeast Asia. Despite these differences, one thread ties the two countries together: the legacy of colonialism. Myanmar's painful struggle with the aftermath of British rule has left deep scars that continue to shape its future, while Thailand's ability to sidestep colonization allowed it to chart a different course, one that would eventually lead to its emergence as a regional power. The difference in outcomes between these two neighboring nations could not be clearer. As Myanmar faces an uncertain future, Thailand stands as a testament to the resilience of a nation that has been able to weather political storms, modernize, and thrive despite its challenges. The history of these two countries serves as a powerful reminder of how deeply history can influence the trajectory of nations, and how the choices made during pivotal moments can define the fate of entire countries for generations to come.